Hey guys, it's Caden. Welcome to another Autism Digest interview, where today we have another amazing individual. You might know him as the voice of Shrek in various pieces of media. You might know him as the voice of Gopher in the Winnie The Pooh franchise from Elden Ring. And fun fact, I interviewed him before for a college project, and we've been very consistent pen pals. He is Mr. Michael C. Gough. Thanks for coming on, Michael.
Well, you're welcome. Here, let me, I'll just tell you that the last name, and I'm not sure where the C comes from, but the last name is actually pronounced Gough, like cough with a G. And I actually have two middle initials, J and T, but you can just call me Michael.
All right, sounds good. And the C was on your Wikipedia page. I believe. I don't know where it comes from either, but it is what it is. With that said, let's get down to business. I think a lot of people might remember you if they're Shrek fans. It doesn't get bigger than that. But for those that may not know you, do you mind telling a bit of your story in your own words?
Well, yeah, let's see. As far as the whole voice acting thing goes, it was something that I got into. Even being an actor in general is something I got into a little late. It wasn't until I was almost finished with going to college that I kind of discovered the whole acting thing. When I just kind of on a whim for fun, I ended up doing a one-act play right before I was about to leave college. And there was something about it that just kind of clicked. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do anyway after college. So I thought, I wonder if this is something I can actually look into. So I ended up sticking around in college and, getting a theater degree. And that's kind of where, for me, the whole acting thing started. And then again, it was just kind of on a whim because I hadn't really done any before that. Then I moved to Los Angeles and tried to start, seeing if I could do the acting thing for real. And I did a lot of theater, which doesn't really, it's not really something you can make a living at if you're in Los Angeles, but I loved doing it, and it's great to do and great experience, and you learn a lot. Eventually, I just took a voice acting class. Didn't really know much about it, but I knew some people do it because I could hear voices on cartoons and commercials and everything else. And I was just curious because I always kind of enjoyed reading out loud. So I took this class, and it definitely helped. And the woman who taught the class was very helpful to me and kind of helped me get a voice acting agent, which especially back then, it was something you needed if you really wanted to, pursue and try to get work. So it just kind of one step at a time, and I started auditioning for things and got a few things here and there. And then I would say my first big, break or big job was the Winnie the Pooh cartoon series, where I did the voice of Gopher, which I remember the audition because we had to try to match the original characters, because the Winnie the Pooh short films from back in the 1960s, one of which won an Academy Award for Best Animated Short, the characters already existed. And even the guy who did the voice of the Gopher originally, he was still around when they decided to reboot Winnie the Pooh and make the cartoon series. But for whatever reason, he just didn't want to do it. And they were holding auditions around here in LA, actually at this one particular casting place, and you had to try to sound like the original characters. So, and I remember when I was a little kid watching those Winnie the Pooh shorts on TV and probably trying to mimic the voices. I think I did that a lot when I was a kid. I'd watch TV and just kind of, talk back to it and kind of mimic a lot of what I was hearing, maybe. So anyway, that was my first kind of big break, I would say, was doing the Gopher for Winnie the Pooh. And then, while still trying to I had done some on camera stuff and still was doing a lot of theater. Haven't done too much theater lately, but but all along, the voice acting path is the one that kind of opened up, and that's where I really started actually, being able to make a living most of the time. So that's kind of my long answer to your question.
And it's a good one to look at your career now. I interview voice actors all the time, and it's always satisfying to hear how they got into the field. My next question for you is, apart from my interactions with you, do you have any other experiences interacting with the autism community that you want to discuss?
Yes, and I'm blanking on her name. She has a podcast, and she interviews tons of voice actors and things, and she's from England.
Oh, Amber Jones, you mean?
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah. I saw your guys' interview. We actually had her on in August.
Yeah, she was great. And she actually, I think she and her dad and a friend, they came out here to LA I think they went to Comic-Con and a few other things. And they actually stopped by my place, and we visited for a little while and had a little fun playing. Maybe I can even show you a little later. So I have this musical instrument called the theremin, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a weird musical instrument that you play without actually touching it. You just move your hands around in the air. And so they had fun, playing around with that. But it was really nice to meet them. And yeah, so that was definitely one experience I had, was doing an interview for her podcast.
Yeah, she's great. She's incredibly talented. I'm extremely glad you both crossed paths. So,
Yeah.
Amber, if you're watching this, shout out to you. My next question for you is, going back to the voice acting and media for a bit. How do you think Hollywood can improve upon representing neurodivergent voices within their productions?
Boy, that's hard. That's hard. I with AI, obviously becoming growing by leaps and bounds, and what the impact of AI is on, like, the arts in general, but specifically acting and voice acting, whether it's audio or video. I I don't know. I don't know exactly what that is going to bring in the future. Uh, so it's hard to. I'm not sure I can answer that question very well. Uh, but you're asking about somebody or people who want to get into the voice acting world. Am I correct?
Or stories represented in the media, I should say. Hey, but voices too. Ooh, how do you think Hollywood can be more accommodating and represent stories better without it coming across as a cash grab? Is a better way to word it.
Yeah. Well, sheesh. Hopefully, as you say, the storytelling is always the basis of pretty much everything. If there isn't really a good story behind whatever the project is, whether it's a film or a video game or a, you know, and I'm talking about, not even, the medium of like the printed word or books or music. Yeah, music's a little different. It doesn't necessarily have a story behind it, but uh, you know, I just hope that Hollywood will keep to its origins of human creativity. You know, uh, that's where, again, like AI generated scripts and things like that. And I don't know that much about all of it. Certainly, there are people who know way more than I do, but I do know that it's all kind of, in its infancy and is only just really starting to explode. But I hope that the human element of whatever is going on, whether it's a voice or an actor or an image or a singer or a writer, creating a story that, because that's where true inspiration and ideas come from. It's from the human experience and the human mind and spirit and all that. I mean, I'm sounding a little highfalutin here, but I mean that's pretty much the truth. I hope that never gets uh, uh, overridden by technology. That's kind of the basic. That kind of covers everything.
I absolutely love that answer. Have a bit of a story for our audience. One of me and Mike's interactions was actually during the 2022 SAG Hollywood strike, and that was actually a concern that was brought up. The rise of AI within the field. From what I remembered, I think that got resolved with an opt-out system, but even that's not enough at the end of it. So I absolutely agree that we should work to make sure that the human element doesn't go away. But I've been utilizing AI as a correction tool. So I think if we use
Yeah.
it as a correction tool specifically, we would never have half the problems we have with it today again.
Well, you're right. As with any new technology, if it's used uh, for good and not evil, um, yeah, I mean, and I see the benefits of AI, even if I'm like just Googling something and I get, a whole like, laundry list of AI information, which is pretty cool. Um, uh, it's just, yeah, AI specifically is such uh, there's such like a huge untapped universe to it that you don't really know what it's going to turn into or what it's going to be capable of. But yeah, as long as it's all kept in perspective, it can be, it's a great tool.
I absolutely agree. My next question for you is Shrek has been extremely popular amongst the autism community specifically. And looking online, I saw that there was a theory that Shrek himself may be on the spectrum, a fan theory, I should say. What do you think is the cultural appeal of Shrek to the autism community?
Well, Shrek, let's see. One thing about it that might be relatable is the fact that he's sort of, at least in the beginning, he's misunderstood, right? He's sort of, he lives in the swamp. and yeah, he's big and green and scary, but he's, you know, underneath it all, when you peel back the layers of the onion, uh, he's, you know, he's friendly and lovable, and you know, he's probably kind of lonely, and so he's different, right? Uh, until people really give him a chance, and he has a chance to prove his real worth beyond just being a scary ogre. And so, yeah, I think that's probably a relatable situation for the autism community in general. And then, yeah, he's got like it seems like he's got hidden talents and hidden virtues, right? That you wouldn't necessarily know about at first. He's a pretty good singer, as it turns out, and he can be brave and loyal, and you know, he turns out to be a good family man. He's got flaws, of course, and sometimes he gets angry and loses his temper and his patience with Donkey or whoever. But I think it's, yeah, he's underneath the surface. You just have to peel back some of the layers, and you find out what all these positive traits are, while he's still, you know, being his ogre self.
I absolutely like that answer. I absolutely agree. I used to watch Shrek films all the time as a kid, and I still do. Ooh, and
Yeah,
thinking deeply about the plot, it's definitely a film about acceptance and understanding things that are misunderstood about people.
yeah, yeah.
So I absolutely love that answer. My last question for you is: so, what does the future hold for you? Is there anything you can tell us about your involvement with Shrek 5 themed stuff, or is that covered with an NDA?
Well, it probably would be covered, but there's nothing that I know of pending or coming up. So if there were something, I don't know if I could say much about it, but right now, nothing happening in that in the Shrek world. Hopefully that'll change. It would be nice. I'd love to do whatever. Uh, I'll just mention this while I'm thinking about it, since you asked about anything coming up, and it's totally non-Shrek related, but this is something that's, I think it opens on Thanksgiving Day. It's the Chuck E. Cheese Christmas special. It's going to be on Amazon Prime, but also I think it's going to then be, you know, on the YouTube channel, maybe the Chuck E. Cheese YouTube channel or whatever. But so it's a new animated holiday special featuring all the characters from Chuck E. Cheese. And in this thing, all of those characters they all live together, kind of. I think it's like they live above an Italian restaurant. So I'm the guy who runs the Italian restaurant where they all live. So it's a fun character, and so that's one thing that's coming up pretty soon. So yeah, it starts on Christmas, or not Christmas, Thanksgiving Day. Chuck E. Cheese Christmas special.
That sounds awesome. We'll be sure to be on the lookout for it. Anyways, that's going to do it for this interview, guys. Thank you so much to Michael Gough for coming on and sharing his story. If you guys want to see more amazing interviews, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Autism Digest channel. Our November issue is out now, so while you're having your turkey and watching the Chuck E. Cheese Christmas special, be sure to get yourself in this zoo, which looks something like this. And stay tuned for the audio file of this interview to be posted on our Spotify. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.